Good afternoon, Young.
Good morning, Michael. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Yeah, I got the Jinaga MCP deployed to production now, so it is um, in the official production area. Up till now, we've been working with staging. So you've had this URL, Polite River something or other, um, but now it's at app.jinaga.com.
Okay,
So
so we can just adapt the URL and it should work, or
it's a completely new environment, so it doesn't yet know any of the apps that you've built. But uh, if you want to port one of your apps over, then you can get the LLM to help you with that. Um, yeah, I could do a extract data, load data, kind of a port,
but that's
but yeah, I decided that was staging. It was intended for
mm,
testing. Um, yeah, there were a few apps that I've come to depend upon, and I'm using on a day-to-day basis. So those I will port.
mm.
Um, yeah, it's
Oh, looking forward for demonstration.
yeah. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so we have there we go. We have
The stars.
yeah yeah. Let's go with down there. Okay. That makes it easier to see what I'm doing. So app.jinaga.com, which used to be the address of the replicator as a service, but now it's personalized software with agents that you already use. So in here, I've got some examples of how you would just prompt an agent in order to build an application. So just describe what you want it to do. Um, then use the app by telling it to log things within the app. And then you can ask questions, um, and you can evolve it as you come up with new things that you would like to do with it. So it's kind of like a little personal software developer just sitting there doing making small changes to your app. Um, so there is the address app.jinaga.com/mcp. Um,
Okay,
mhm. So, what I am going to do real quick is to to go into uh, my MCPs here. So, where do they put that again? I think it was under
so go to
agents.
the settings.
Yeah, cloud agents models. Yeah, I've forgotten where they put it. Well,
It was in
let's.
customize somewhere, but
Yeah.
oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, but where is customized now? Hmm. Okay. Well, let's.
Ah,
Oh, do you
if
see it?
you go to the if you open the agent window,
Mm-hmm.
then you have new agent and a customize.
Oh, this is
Um,
right there. It's not inside of settings. Okay.
yeah,
There we go.
there MCP.
MCPs. All right. Okay, so we've got our old Jinaga agent. So that's at uh, cursor MCP JSON. So does it have a way to edit? Yeah, I'm not seeing a way to edit. So I'm just going to
You
load
just
it this
click
way.
on it, you
Oh,
get a
can you?
JSON file.
Oh,
You click there,
well.
you get a JSON file, and
Oh,
then you can
okay.
remove it.
Perfect. Okay, so what I want to do in order to port things is I want to rename this one to Jinaga staging, and then I'll create a new one that's called Jinaga, and instead of Polite River, I'm just going to change that to Jinaga.com. So app.jinaga.com. Okay, so save that. All right, so now I've got Jinaga staging and Jinaga, and we can see we've got the logo now. Yay! Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was already configured. It's just the domain. So cursor is using the domain over and above the logo configuration. So first of all, I'll authenticate with staging. So we're on Polite River. So there, I've got all my apps under my Google login. So that one's authenticated. And then here, log in at app.jinaga.com. That one, I've also put it under my Google login. Okay. All right, so now let's go back to the agent chat and list my uh, applications from uh, the Jinaga MCP production, not staging. So it should be able to find that MCP and everything is going to be completely empty.
On my side, it's doing something. Yeah. It's probably. Oh yeah, yeah. I see. I think I missed one of the brackets.
Ah,
I need a bracket there, but it automatically adds brackets.
hmm. Wonder why it's taking so long to authenticate. We already did that part. Let's see if it, yeah, clicking isn't helping. What is the issue? Junior is not authenticated yet. Hmm. The auth browser flow did not complete. I can start auth again. You know what? I'm going to restart cursor. How about that?
That might help.
Yeah, I could try the reload Windows thing, but we'll give this a shot. Okay, yeah, and cursor always takes a little while to get going. Click on the icon, the um, the menu stays open. And then you are working, aren't you? Let's see. Are you doing anything? Hello. Okay, well, let's click on it again. Okay. Cursor. All right. Something started in the background. Come on, you can do it. Okay. Okay, try again. So if it needs authentication, it should pop up the authenticate button.
Mm-hmm.
Planning next moves. Okay, there we go. Authenticate. Yep, still with Google. There we go. Oh, that was the Polite River one. Interesting. Hmm. Okay, I wonder if cursor has something cached under the name because I changed the URL of uh, the named. Well, it succeeded. That is very strange. Oh, wait, no, these are the um, These are the old applications. Okay. Well, at least we get to see a little bit of what it's doing. So it starts with a console. C39
Mm.
is what it's up to now. And then just says let apps equal applications. And then the results we get back are our workspaces, which have applications. So this one's unnamed. This one's got the conference CFP tracker. So yeah, this is the old Polite River stuff. All right, let's just make sure that the customization stuck. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've got
both
two
Jinaga
called.
now.
Yeah. Okay. One of them. One of them is at
No, and
tilde
below you
cursor.
still have a
Yeah.
staging also. So
Yeah.
you have three.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is at tilde cursor, and this one is also at tilde cursor. Oh, in the Ubuntu environment, this one's the local environment. Okay, let's. Okay, so the one in local has Jinaga staging. Okay, and so the one in Ubuntu, that's the one that has the um, the old one still named Jinaga. Okay, are we starting? Let me open up another editor. Okay, so with this, I want to. Yeah, I am in Ubuntu. Okay, so now let's open uh, home MPerry, and then here, cursor, and mcp.json. That doesn't exist. Oh, it's not in projects. It's there. Mm. Oh, it's dot cursor. We'll get there. Dot cursor, mcp. There it is, mcp.json. Okay. Now GitHub MCP playwright context 7. All right, so this one I changed to Jinaga staging, and then I have another one that is Jinaga that we do Jinaga MCP. Okay, save that. Okay, and this looks like it automatically picked up the change. Interesting. All right. Oh, and this one is in factual MCP. Um, hmm. Yeah, and these are at the user level. All right. Well, let's try real quick. Let's see. List the production applications, not staging, which will probably confuse a little bit because it actually was using something called Jinaga and not Jinaga staging, but now it's got a modified list. Let's see what it's able to do. Oh, there we go. Confirming which endpoint. Production needs re-authentication. Staging is already connected. Yeah, we are not popping up the window. Reload window. Okay, planning next moves, which is a indicator to me that it is trying to get connected to the LLM. Okay, app.jinaga.com. So it's authenticating with the right site. Authenticated. And so we should see an empty list here. Anonymous personal workspace. Oh, I wonder why I didn't pick up my name when it set up the workspace. I'll have to look into that. Okay. So we've got, I've got two workspaces. So apparently during the deployment, um, my runbook, my little scripts, set up a staging probe, and so apparently I used this login to run that staging probe. So
My case is connected. Applications. I'll open a Jinaga console, list the public application. What is it doing here? Application space is empty. That's correct.
good.
There are no applications in the Jinaga identity yet. You're signed in as, that's correct. There are no workspace memberships, so the application list is empty. To get an application, redeem an invitation at https app.jinaga.com/redeem.
Very good. So
But
let's
why
set
is
that
that?
up.
Because it does authenticate.
Yes. So it knows who you are given your login, but it doesn't. Uh, you don't have a workspace yet because that is what the invitation unlocks. So anybody can log in, and that creates a an account for that user, but
Okay.
yeah, they can't do anything with that account until they've got an invitation. And so I can come over here and I can sign in with GitHub. And there's the invitation that I sent to myself. All right, it's already been used, so that won't help anybody. But I'll come over here and generate a new invitation. So I'll set the expiration date of the invitation, but that doesn't expire the workspace you create with it. Okay, so that's created. And so I'm going to share that via.
Yeah. It's asking for an
Yeah.
invitation code.
Yeah. All right. Da-da-da. So going to.
Where can I see that? I go to historical modeling and then to text channels. Is it that?
I'm going to send you a direct message.
Direct
There we go.
messages.
All right, so there's the invitation code.
Invitation code.
Yeah.
Yes. I enter that. Continues. Create my workspace. Workspace ready. Then connect to a client. Yeah, connect to a client I don't have to do because I already have it normally. Is that correct, Michael?
Correct. Yeah, you've already connected it to the cursor client. Yep.
Now, if I ask, do I have, okay, redeemed, uh, code, an invitation. Invitation. Do I have a workspace? Now, I have to click the button. Otherwise, it's not doing anything.
Okay.
Is opening in Jinaga console. Planning the next moves.
And meanwhile,
By
I've
the
asked
way,
it to copy the CFP tracker app from staging to production.
yes, now you have one workspace, anonymous personal workspace. No applications yet, of course.
Okay. Yeah, so
But
I'll
so
figure
why
out
is
why
that?
it's anonymous. It,
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to get the username from your auth token, and then
Mm.
use that to name your workspace. But yeah, I'll have to interrogate the auth token and see why I'm not seeing that name.
But you also had anonymous.
Yes.
But in your case, there were a couple of applications. Huh?
Yes, those were from
Okay.
the staging deployment.
Okay. So we're not. It's not the same anonymous workspace.
Right. Yes. Yes. We each have our
Okay.
own separate workspace. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So meanwhile, I can see that it used um, the MCP that has the Microsoft logo. So that's the one that's running on, uh, just on the Azure domain, uh, in order to extract the application definition. And now it's using the one
hmm,
with the Jinaga logo in order to deploy that application.
yeah. In my case, also the old one, which still needs authentication, is with the Microsoft logo, and the new one, in which I logged in, has the Jinaga logo.
Excellent.
So now we also see the config file directly in your after the invitation code. I don't know if I click installing cursor whether that would work.
Um, I think we tried that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Tried
try that
before
again.
and it didn't work, but
Yeah,
I'm on two different machines here, so
yeah. I'm gonna need to uninstall it from one of my machines and then click that button and see if it works.
okay. That do I have to now? I can sign out. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the application manifest for the conference CFP tracker. So it's all written in YAML, broken down by the well, it starts off with what's the purpose of the app, when should you use it, um, and then some examples. Um, so um, when the AI believes that it should use Jinaga to solve a problem, then it will look at your list of applications. It should be able to see all this use when stuff before even loading an application. And then it says, okay, that's the right one. And then it can see some examples. And, and then it should just be able to make the call. So now here's the actions that it can perform and the oh goodness, lots of actions. Yeah, and then the views. So um, what um, what should you what view should you load in order to basically run a specification and see what the um, you get the results that the user is asking for. So yeah, that's loaded in. Okay, so now I've got my conference CFP tracker in production. I copied the fact types, the specifications, the actions, full manifest. This is the model only. Staging conference venue facts were not copied. All right, so copy the facts. So I'm curious now if it is going to realize that that it has to recreate them using this new user account. Um, it yeah, that's really the only option that it has. Um, so it should try to call the actions in order to recreate the data.
Yeah. And recreate them. Probably yes.
Yeah.
Under your production identity.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. So it's understanding what it needs to do. Okay. It needed to dig in a little bit more to understand how the facts are related, because the views are just showing kind of like end user responses. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, so it wrote a new query, so you can see this inline query syntax. So um, it just said, okay, I'm defining a specification and querying it right now, as opposed to making it part of a view. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that syntax ran into an authorization problem. Yeah, yeah, that would. So yeah, it actually would have to update the application and publish the new specifications, and then it will be authorized to pull that data. Yep. Temporary published specs on staging so that you can read closed, rejected, and series link facts. So yeah, if something is closed or rejected, then it doesn't show up in the application anymore. Um, so it can't copy those facts over. Yeah, I didn't ask it to copy only the still open ones. Um, so I guess I could have done that, but actually this is what I'm looking for, is that if I've rejected a conference, I want that information to still be there, um, so that I can eventually make it robust enough that as it's doing a search, it can check the rejected conferences and say, no, I'm not going to propose that one again.
By the way, you're still in auto mode, Michael. But
Mm-hmm.
there is York 4.6 now, which is
Yeah.
for this week. For this week, half the price. So it's hardly more expensive than auto mode.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So far, auto mode seems to be doing pretty well. Um, but yeah, I can I can test out what are the limits of auto mode with this, and where do I need to switch to Grok? Oh, this avid conference action has the wrong argument order. Hmm. Yeah, that was one of the bugs that I had fixed a couple weeks back. Is that um, the code was always expecting the the values first, and then the predecessor facts second, um, and uh, and so it would create an action with the parameters intermingled, but then when you go to use it, um, it had to be that strict order. So I fixed it um, so that you could intermingle those parameters any way you want. But so it sounds like um, that behavior made it into the manifest, and so it must have run into this add conference action and said, oh, well, it has to be in this order for it to work, and then updated the manifest. But now it accepts it in the actual defined order. So maybe it'll update the manifest. Okay, so here it said the series and conferences are in. If I look here, I see um, some direct fact creation commands. So here it's not calling an action; it's just creating this fact directly. So it's saying there's a new CFP series owned by $me. So that's a reference that's automatically built in that resolves to my user fact, and those are the values. And then let's create a new one for DevOps Days Dallas. Yeah, so just fill in the database. And so this is a great example of why this interface is more token friendly than the previous interface. Now it can create a whole bunch of commands or a whole bunch of facts all at once, and then execute those in the console. Yeah, it's still giving you back the hash of the facts. That's wasting tokens. It doesn't need to use that hash for anything. So I'll change that result so that it doesn't give you back the hashes. Okay, so we've got these conferences in there. The count. Oh, okay, these are the types. Yeah, so it's counting the number of facts of each type that it uploaded. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there was something with the manifest. Was there a problem with the action manifest that you ran into? Actually, I think it was the fact types, the constructors. Yeah. Okay, so ran into the problem with the action bodies. Same pattern showed up. Yeah, so it created name, city, state, URL. But here it expected owner name, city, state, URL. So it, yeah, so name is a value. So yeah, you can see that in the past it resorted all of the values to the front. So yeah, there's a start date URL, CFP URL, CFP deadline, and now the user, the last one. But now the user is the first one. And then all those are still in the same order. Okay. All right. Update the manifest to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'll say in production, because I don't really care about the staging manifest. Oh. Okay, the failure was in the action bodies, not the YAML manifest, but I'll fix those actions on production and publish so the call works. Thank you. That's what I meant. Okay, so that should fix the problem that was introduced by an earlier bug. Rolling back the smoke test fact. I'm kind of curious what it did with the smoke test. So it called the add conference action, and it got some results. So so when it called that action, it would have created a fact in just the kind of the in-memory area. it's not really in memory. It gets cached to Redis, so it's more permanent than that. Um, yeah, you can then call rollback on the console, and it rolls back any facts that you've created since that point. Um, the the other thing that it could do is call publish, which publishes any changes to the model as well as any facts. So this lets the AI run a bit of uh, a test on its model. So it's like, okay, let's create some fact types. Let's create some specifications. Um, yeah, populate a few test facts, and then see if we can run those specifications. And then if everything's good, then it can commit that. But if not, it can roll it all back and try again. Yeah. All right. So now we're able to use the app. So using the production application, list all of the open CFPs that I need to respond to. And so this is, yeah, besides the using the production application part, that's what a person would do day to day in order to use the app. Okay, you have 3 open CFPs with no submission yet. There we go. And there's the URL. So now you just act upon them, and yeah, observability is already passed, but AI agents is still open. Yeah. So click do your submission thing, then come back here and say, yep, I've submitted. And then it records that information. There we go. That's app.jinaga.com. So still in private beta, but after I've tested this with a few folks, then I will open the public beta, and you'll be able to request a token to try it out. Yeah, how did things go on your side?
Well, I tried the replicator.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to app.jinaga.com,
Mm-hmm.
there it's using automatically its internal replicator,
Yes.
and you cannot make it connect to, for example, a personal replicator which you used in Docker.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
That is on the roadmap though.
Mhm. Um, I had some questions regarding models and replicators.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for now is and we we discussed that I think for DWS as well, but I forgot. So it has to be a multi-tenant application. Do I put it in one replicator, or do I put it in a
Mm-hmm.
replicator, because now it's just a Docker container, one
Yeah.
for each customer?
Yeah, it'd just be one replicator. And
Okay.
the tenant with the Jinaga or with the Nowist model is your organization. So yeah, Jinaga kind of forces you down the multi-tenant path. You can't, for example, say list all customers in this database. You have to say, starting with this organization, give me a list of all the customers. So
Yeah.
the organization, your company, is the tenant. But yeah, multiple tenants live in the same replicator.
But so I take my company as the main user,
Mm-hmm.
um, and under that I define all the customers, the
Yes.
customers companies,
Mm-hmm.
and they each have their technicians, which become a membership, which become a member of their company.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That gives you that top layer for you to be able to see all the companies, all of your
Mm-hmm.
customers, and to provision a new one through through your admin application. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, without that top level, then those customers would be disconnected, and um, yeah, you wouldn't have a service uh,
Mm-hmm.
area that you could see them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I still need to be able to go in and uh, add facts, delete facts,
Hmm.
add new users for some customers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So having that organization helps you to do that. If you wanted to set up a second organization in the same replicator, one of the things that you might do with that is to test something in the in that production environment. So um, so yeah, I'll typically using the enterprise domain pattern. Um, I'll typically have a production domain that's the company in this case, and a staging domain. And
Mm-hmm.
so then after deploying the software, after having tested it in lower environments and everything, then deploy the software, and now you can go into the staging domain, and you can smoke test. You can make changes, and you know that it's not going to affect anything that's in the production domain.
Okay. So I I have my self production, my self staging, and each time all the customers below it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
so yeah, you'd set up a few test customers in staging. Yeah, you wouldn't set up each one of your customers in both environments. Wouldn't be much advantage to that, as they would be copies.
Yeah. And then the fact that they don't have access to each other's data, um, because they could normally walk up the tree, is because of the authorization rules.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so authorization rules, what they can write, or really who can write a fact, and then distribution rules, who
For
can
who
run a
gets,
specification. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Distribution rules are at the specification level, not at the individual fact level. Um, So there may be some situations in which you can read this fact, but then other situations in which you can't. So, something's been, um, you know, something's been deleted or redacted. So there's a successor fact that says we're not redacted. Then you authorize with a distribution rule the specification that says I want all of these comments were not redacted. So that means they can't just query all the comments. They have to include the where not redacted. Um, so yeah, that lets you control who's allowed to see what with contextual information, not just on the individual fact.
okay, good. Um, that might help. That might help. But I still have to get all that information out of the videos because uh, every time I have a question like that, these are small questions, um, but it would be very interesting if I just could ask that
Yeah,
to Grok or to Composer.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
I don't know for sure that the information is in the videos. That yeah, that information about how to model the enterprise domain pattern,
mm,
and how to use the distribution rules for securing your data. That information is in the book. It's not specifically Jinaga. I mean,
mm,
the book does mention Jinaga, but the the patterns are historical modeling patterns. Um, so so yeah, I think training something on the contents of the book is going to help more than training on the videos. And so
Yeah.
I do have a start of that with the MCP. So when the MCP was doing a poor job of modeling, I selected 5 chapters that would really help
Mm.
it to improve, and then um, yeah, had it read those chapters, had it identify what what guidance it already had that contradicted with those chapters, update that guidance, and then um, write some evaluations. So now, as part of the eval framework, um, given a problem, does it come up with a model um, that is useful, that follows those conventions? So so I can turn that into a skill or a set of skills. I could see 3 skills: one for historical modeling, one for Jinaga JS, and one for Jinaga.net.
Mm.
And and so um, yeah, that first one is basically what I've already built into the MCP, because now it knows how to model using the factual language and
Yeah.
applies the historical modeling patterns. So yeah, then the other two would be, yeah, how do you translate from factual to JavaScript or to .NET?
But at a certain moment, thought perhaps the MCP server will know, so I asked a few questions, and I said, use the MCP server,
Hmm.
and it came up with correct information just up to a certain point, and then it started hallucinating.
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was about the replicators,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
it
the
and
MCP
it
doesn't
started
actually know about replicators.
and it started using information from general
Hmm.
database systems, and
Yeah.
uh, no, it was it was not of use there.
Yeah. 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 The English language just doesn't have enough words. Yeah, replication is what it's doing. It is a
Yeah,
replicator, but yeah, database replication is also a thing, and it's a different thing,
yeah.
but it's kind of
Jinaga
similar.
replicator.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. You get data from this store to that store. Um,
mm.
that's where they're similar. After that, they're very different.
No, but most of these things we were discussed once or more times in the video somewhere.
Mm,
But in meanwhile, it's 281 videos, so
yeah,
to
yeah,
find back where exactly. Um,
yeah. So maybe it's 4 skills. In addition to the modeling, .NET, and TypeScript, then there would be one that's about infrastructure. So how to deploy replicators, or maybe it's specifically about replicators. Um,
infrastructure.
yeah, when I
Yeah.
when I when I release the aggregator, I think that would be a completely different skill. So so I wouldn't want just infrastructure to grow. Yeah, there'd be the after the
Also,
replicator, there's the
yeah.
aggregator, and then the activator.
The active. What is the
Yeah,
activator?
the activator runs stuff. So so you'll be able to set up a specification that it subscribes
Mm,
to, and then whenever something matches that specification, it'll take an action. So
okay.
that action could be call an API, run this script, um, all
Mm,
this deterministic stuff, like a
like a
function.
watch.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a watch hooked up to a function, and you just run
Yeah.
it in the cloud. Um, or it could be an agentic action. So okay, I just saw these results. Here's your goal. Go agent, do the goal, and then when you're done, record your results back on the replicator. So then you'd be
Okay.
able to deploy deterministic or agentic workloads.
Mm. Yeah, because it's not only the replicators, but also all the all the best practices
Hmm.
that we discussed in different programs.
Yeah,
How to put the view models in combination with the models, with Jinaga models.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
to
And
have all that.
I think that is
Uh,
the new chapter 7
hmm,
in the second edition. This was a brand new chapter. Um, that basically, as early as possible, as soon as you had all the information, showed you how to put it all together. Um,
hmm,
so, so yeah, you'd already gone through the analysis chapter, so you knew how to create specifications and hook them up to a user interface. And then, yeah, with this chapter, it says, okay, there's a thing called a replicator, and you can deploy it to your infrastructure like this. Now let's do a few shapes to solve infrastructure problems. Um, so, like we've got a cluster that's serving a large number of users. We've got something in the a replicator in the back end that's serving this Lambda function. Um, so that chapter I hadn't thought of the activator idea yet, but basically that Lambda function that's in the back that would be replaced with an activator.
yeah,
And
that was,
yeah,
for example, also the limit between historical modeling and external systems.
yeah,
Yeah, where data was imported, all facts were arrived and were exported.
mm-hmm, yep, yep. So yeah, it could be a Lambda that makes that call. And then yeah, in that chapter, I also did talk about something that loads data from a legacy system. So it's just like watching a file folder. So SFTP files up here, and then it brings that in, creates a bunch of facts. So if at the edge all you're doing is running a specification and then creating facts, uh, and then it's just focused on doing the connecting to the outside world. Now that lets you bring all of the decisions, all of the you know, the logic into the application. But that logic doesn't live on the inside like it is in a traditional uh, application deployment. On the inside, you've got replicators, and it's just moving these facts where they need to be. That logic exists um, on the client side if it's something that the user interacts with. Let me see some things, make a decision, record my decision, or it could live on a now an agentic activator. So
Mm,
so it could be making some decisions there. Or if you're running a policy, so anytime this happens, like with call for papers, nice easy one would be a policy that says if the CFP date has passed, then go ahead and record a fact that says this CFP is closed.
mm,
So that I would put into a deterministic activator. Just
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Run this query, look at the results, check today's date, record those facts. Yeah, so you're putting little pieces of the logic where they go, and the heart of the system is just replicators, just moving data from here to here.
Mhm. Yeah, it's getting a very nice system, but
Hmm.
it's completely different than the traditional databases.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Um, that is
Because
one of the
one thing
challenges.
that's still scares me a little bit is in a traditional database you just go in and you change whatever you have in a field left right.
Hmm.
You do a query, you modify again, you delete things. Um, but in Jinaga, that becomes, I'm not going to say more difficult because you only can add facts.
Hmm.
You delete by adding things.
But more
Um,
deliberate, I would say.
yeah, I'm. I don't know. It still scares me a little
Hmm.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, and that was originally part of the tooling question. So the uh, factual studio idea. which may still return to. But uh, yeah, but honestly, with the MCP, if I can connect the MCP to an arbitrary replicator, then as opposed to right now, it knows exactly the replicator that you've set up. Um, but yeah, connect it to an arbitrary replicator, and then it could run those queries for you. I don't know if you uh, yeah, maybe Factual Studio is the MCP doing that, and then showing you some visualizations. But I'm bringing the visualizations into the MCP, so it's going to get all that power.
Yeah.
Um,
But then
yeah,
make it easy to make a staging copy
yeah,
of your replicator,
hmm
and run the MCP agent on that staging environment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So to get there, one of the hurdles I don't want to cross is the very explicit, very deliberate authorization. Um, So there should be nothing that you could type and no mistake that the agent could make that would allow it to access something that you don't want it to. So so like you've got your staging and your production, and
Mm,
and so um, there should be an authorization rule that says, okay, you are acting as a user that is associated with the staging environment that gives you permission to make changes there. You're
mm,
there's a different user, or that same user is associated in a different way to the production environment that allows you to read. Um,
yeah.
and so then you should be able to offline, not within the agent, yeah, offline, um, approve or decline requests for authorization for privilege escalation or anything like that. Um, so so maybe it can make the request, but then you've got an app that's on your phone that says, "Okay, I just received this request. Do you approve it?" Um, and it's not like individual. I need to make this change, so approve that change. I need to make that change, approve that change. But more of, you know, give me these permissions, and then now I'm requesting that you revoke these permissions. Oh, do you want to approve the revocation?
Mm,
Um, so those would be facts that you put into the model that control authorization and distribution. But then you also have the app, the phone app, this
mm,
side channel uh, responding to. Anyway, all that is where where I'd like to go. Where now this thing knows about replicators and it knows about how to manage your infrastructure. Um, of course, people will decide or decide not to take things that far. Um, but yeah, trying to get back
because in
to the original
because
thought.
because in development we have the advantage of we we try something, we say, okay, that looks nice, we commit, and then we can go on with the agent. If he screws up, no problem.
Hmm
We just get it back from Git.
Yeah, yeah,
But if we work with a production database, yeah, you can always say make a backup. But in meanwhile, your customers are working,
hmm
so you have to be extremely careful there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so some of the advantages of this system in that regard, yeah. First of all, it's append only. So um,
Mm,
unless unless you actually deploy a purge rule, which you should do very very carefully, um, there's no way to destroy that data. So um, if you do screw up and uh, now you are yeah it you could mess up in a few different ways. You could have a very loose distribution rule, and now people can see other people's data, or people can see data they're not supposed to. A very loose authorization rule. Now people are creating facts that they're not supposed to. Um, so so yeah, it's still possible to make mistakes. There's no engineering around
mm,
those mistakes, but but it gives you a a certain um, yeah, a certain level of assurance that if you do make a mistake, there is some path to recovery. Um, yeah. Oh, okay. And I remember the other point that I wanted to make. The the familiar traditional database idea versus replicators that are non-traditional. They're not familiar. Um, the uh, when you are working on one application, you are in uh, you've got your database. You can query select star from customers, and you can get back all the customers that are in this database. Um, and then change a column, and now that column is added to all customers within this database. Um, you have a control boundary. I am in complete control of everything that's in here. Um, it's then when you need to integrate with other systems that now these control boundaries start to are adjacent. So so now I've got an API, and I have to design this API around the use cases of my application um, in order for this to affect your area of control. So um, so yeah, I'm using Sessionize, for example. So I want to integrate with Sessionize. I have to use their API, which is set up for their use cases. This is how you use Sessionize. And and so um, yeah, you have to think through those use cases. You have to get them right. If you deploy a new feature, now you're changing that surface area. So you've got versioning that you're doing at that surface, at that boundary. Um, and so you eventually get to the point where you're thinking about these hard problems. So the replicator philosophy, one of the reasons that replicators feel like they are hard to use than traditional database is that you have to think about those hard problems right up front.
mm,
So versioning is something that you're thinking about as you're developing the application. It's like, I just wrote this code and it saves these facts. And then I say, oh, wait a minute, I want it to work like that. Um, those facts don't migrate over to the new way of working. You can just change your code to work a different way, and those facts are now abandoned; they're unreachable. Or you can deliberately put in the migration strategy at that
mm,
point, and you have to
yeah.
make that choice. So yeah, it does force you into a place where you're pulling those decisions up to the front.
The database, traditional database, you keep the mess for the end.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yep. Yeah, I even remember one of the earlier projects I was working on. We were building version 2 of this application, and it's just like, okay, here's our new architecture, service oriented, and entity framework, and all this stuff. And then there's the old one sitting there. We're still running it. While we're spending months setting up this new version, and then it's like, okay, time to deploy.
mm,
It's setting up a brand new database. How do you move the data over from here to here? And yeah, so one poor DBA was tasked with writing a complete application migration script, just like select from here, insert into there, but you have to rearrange the data, all these CTEs, and yeah, just nasty stuff. So yeah, I determined at that point I'm never going to leave database migration to the end. So
mm,
yeah, on a later project when we were doing pretty much the same thing. Here's version 1. We're going to abandon that one. Here's version 2. It's like, okay, the first story is get a case. So this was to do with um, uh, yeah, uh, investigations. So you get a case from the old system, and then um, insert just a high level case record into the new system. So that's
mm,
the story. There's no user interface. There's no way for a user to create a case. It's like, nope, that's the story. We're migrating a case. Okay, now that we can see that working, now yeah, that also gave us the advantage of now we can work on the read side. Yeah, before we
mm,
can create a case, let's list cases. And that's the next user story. Oh, okay. Migrate them in, list. All right.
mm,
Yeah, that one went so much better. We could migrate over time as we were deploying the new version, let it run side by side.
mm.
There was never a date where we had to say cut off, no more data goes in here, it all goes in here. Yeah, much better way of doing things.
Yeah, but as long as you keep it with local databases, that works well. The moment that it is distributed, becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. So take on those distribution difficulties right from the start.
Yeah, because the old now is everybody has its local database,
Mm-hmm.
and once you update, the first thing it does is convert the database.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you have a database from the very first version,
Mm-hmm.
you give it to the most recent version, it will say, okay, we go to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1 until it is
Uh-huh.
up to today's versions. So it keeps upgrading.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm quite happy with that. That works well, but it's just a local database.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
So
now imagine
even
that
if
you needed to integrate somehow all of your
mm,
different clients, but they're all on different versions. Yeah. How do you
well,
make that happen?
if if somebody exports his data on on a floppy drive,
Uh-huh.
on a USB stick, and he gives it to one of his colleagues and he imports it, and he's on a higher version, well, it will upgrade first before it import.
Mm.
So even there, it does work,
But if he's on a
but
lower version,
then it complains.
mm-hmm.
Then you have to update your software first.
Yeah. Yeah. So which is
That's an
which is
advantage.
yeah, that's the right thing to do. However, I don't want something in the model to force that decision. I want to keep
Mm,
that open and say, yeah, I really do want to encourage people to go to the later versions. But yeah, but yeah, with the migration patterns, the versioning patterns that you have access to with historical modeling, it's possible for you to come up with a model that works with a newer version, older version. They can collaborate
mm,
while they're on different versions, and
yeah.
doesn't force that.
Mm,
Just like the that cutoff, like okay, the idea of running one master script that's going to move all this data from here to here means that you can only do that once. You
mm,
can't do that once and say, oh, okay, well let's keep this running for a little while, and people now are putting new data into the old system, and then say, okay, now let's flip over. Well, that new data is not in the new system yet. Um,
mm.
oh, let's run that script again. Is it idempotent? Are you sure? Did you test that? Uh, versus, yeah, these are just two historical models, and the replicator is moving the facts back and forth. So yeah, somebody can put a fact in the new system and it shows up in the old system. Um, yeah, I just don't want the model to be the constraint that forces you down a certain path. Because yeah, anytime somebody says, "Well, we're just going to do this cut over once and it'll be done," I don't believe them.
Um, Very hard to have people in the field all update at the same
Yeah,
time. And there will always be somebody who's on holiday at that moment
yeah,
who didn't synchronize his data, and he comes back from holiday and you cannot synchronize anymore.
yeah,
Um, and they don't understand why. And
yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that was a pretty long episode, but yeah, I think we got some good stuff. Um, yeah. So I think you said next week you will not be on the
I
call.
will be there. I will be there, but I have to. Let me see. I have a little bit later that evening. I have something, but yeah, at 6. So the stream ends at 4 p.m. and at 6:30 I have to be there, but it's a while from here. But so yeah, if we stop at 4 p.m.,
Okay.
I will still be in time on the next appointment.
All
Okay,
right.
then see you next week, Michael.
Indeed. Yep. See you then.
Okay,
All right.
bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye.